and that what in fact happened was Justin didn't harass Blake. Blake was interested in wresting control of this movie away from Justin, who was the director and the producer. She was just an actress in it, and used threats and coercion and bullying to do it. And to the point where this guy was in the basement at his own movie's premiere.
When you make a man who's that is your wife, sexually harassed, don't make fun. Justin, you don't make fun of the situation. Very seriously. HR complaints. Raise issues. Follow the legal process. Don't do long in person. Turn it into a joke.
Oh, Hollywood, baby, where a movie based on your favorite book can go from can't-miss masterpiece to full-blown courtroom chaos faster than you can say Oscar buzz. And honey, the main drama today, Blake Lively, who might be staring down a 5-year prison sentence. Because when the drama of a lawsuit just isn't enough, why not throw in a little jail time for some extra spice? So grab your popcorn. I'm talking the fancy kind, hand-popped by someone with a serious title. Because this mess is more twisted than the very movie they forgot they even wanted to make. Let's rewind for a sec. Remember when fans went wild over the news that It Ends With Us, the best-selling book that had everyone crying, was getting a movie? At first, it seemed like a match made in Hollywood heaven. Justin Baldoni, known for turning stories into emotional gold, was set to direct. Blake Lively, the queen of wit and depth, was cast as the lead. It felt like the stars aligned and everyone, fans, media, and the universe, thought we were in for something special. The cast was perfect, the director was all heart, and everything seemed destined to be legendary. But as always in Hollywood, once the cameras rolled, bam, the drama hit. Word was that Lively wanted to add her signature humor to the script, but Baldoni wasn't having it. He wanted to stick to the tear-jerking, gut-wrenching tone that made the book a sensation. Who needs emotional depth when you've got punchlines and couture, right? And don't even get me started on the wardrobe drama. Oh, we'll get there in a minute. For now, just picture it. Fans who were ready for movie magic, now watching in shock as their beloved adaptation turned into an all-out behind-the-scenes battleground.
We've come across evidence that shows that even her own representatives knew that she was threatening and mean and wanted to get her way. This is not something that we wanted out there, not something that Justin wanted out there. In fact, it hurts the movie. It doesn't help the movie.
Let's keep it real, fam. If you're adapting a novel that's all about raw emotion and personal growth, maybe, just maybe, tone down the comedic glitter bomb. That's exactly what Baldoni allegedly tried to say. Meanwhile, Lively's crew was all about sprinkling in sassy humor and those luxurious visuals, because why not make heartache look fabulous, right? Who needs deep, soul-shaking trauma when you can wrap it in hot couture? By the time the first behind-the-scenes shots dropped, fans were like, hold up, wasn't this supposed to be a story that makes you ugly cry, not laugh? The images looked more like a rom-com than the emotional roller coaster we were promised. Naturally, the internet lost its mind, along with Lively and Baldoni, but they kept it real behind closed doors. Word is, Baldoni told her to cut the comedy, or she'd drown the book's soul in punchlines and Prada. But Lively, in true diva fashion, was like, honey, modern audiences need a little comedic relief, right? Who doesn't think heartbreak hits best with a snarky one-liner on standby? At first, it was just a classic case of creative differences, your standard Hollywood drama. Nothing too out of the ordinary, right? But then, oh baby, this spat turned into a full-blown legal catastrophe. Lively reportedly said she was being pushed aside, and Baldoni? He had the receipts. And here comes the real showstopper. Baldoni, in a move so Hollywood, slapped Lively with a $400 million defamation lawsuit. Yes, you read that right, $400 million. Because, darling, if you're going to wage war in Tinseltown, a measly few million won't cut it. You've got to go for a number so big, it sounds like a military budget. Why is he doing this? He says Lively publicly painted him as a tyrant who shut her out of big decisions and insists that behind the scenes, she was all about pushing for those comedic rewrites, maybe even demanding them. So was she truly just a star sidelined, or was she the comedy mastermind pulling the strings the whole time? Well, that depends on whose side of the story you're listening to. In any other city, this would be your typical he said, she said situation. But honey, this is Hollywood, so naturally, we're going to add a couple of zeros to the lawsuit and make sure every gossip mag gets in on the juicy updates. Because if you're going to have your rep dragged through the mud, you might as well make it a full-on high-stakes drama.
Are you going to sue Blake Lively too?
Into oblivion. Okay. Yeah, we're carefully considering other people that will be sued. Ryan Reynolds, for sure.
Oh, wow.
Just when you thought the drama couldn't get any juicier, here comes a rumor that might blow the lid off this entire saga. Word on the street is that Blake Lively might have misrepresented, or even fabricated, evidence and baby that could flip the script in a major way. Some hush-hush insiders are whispering about text messages, meeting transcripts, and maybe even some shady videos that directly contradict what Lively's been saying about how much comedic fluff she really backed. We all know typical Hollywood lawsuits are about money, fame, and those all-important bragging rights. But throw in the possibility of prison time, and suddenly it's like the plot of a thriller. Could Blake Lively, the queen of sass and impeccable style, actually be facing up to 5 years in prison for perjury or something close to it? In Tinseltown, where NDAs, script leaks, and hush-hush settlements are basically a hobby, some are calling this whole Blake might go to jail talk a straight-up scare tactic. Settle up or we might have to hand these receipts to the cops. Because honey, threatening someone with prison isn't just about losing a role or paying a fine. This is jail time. And yet, the rumor mill just won't stop spinning. Every time you blink, another secret piece of evidence leaks faster than a Kardashian dropping a new season. You start to wonder if these leaks are just pressure tactics to corner Lively. Let's face it, nothing says I'm serious like threatening someone with an orange jumpsuit. But wait, there's more. There's also this little mess about Lively's sudden 180 on styling early script notes. Spicy gossip says she was all about bringing that fashion-flared asterisk it ends with us asterisk. Think designer gowns, killer shoes, and camera angles that made every piece of couture pop. But when fans and critics started side-eyeing her looks for stomping all over the book's raw emotional vibe, Lively went into full backpedal mode fast. That's when the drama really hit. According to Baldoni's camp, they claim Lively was front and center picking out those comedic beats and bold outfits, only to later claim she was forced into it. So was Lively truly overwhelmed by the comedy and culture, or was she the mastermind behind it all? Hollywood's divided. Some say she was just going with the flow at first, and then realized things were getting out of hand. Others argue that as soon as the negative press hit, she switched up quicker than you can say Louis Vuitton. Either way, one thing's clear, this whole mess is peak Hollywood. A story about deep emotional scars is getting completely overshadowed by debates about comedic timing and Gucci belts. Honestly, if that isn't the epitome of Tinseltown madness, I don't know what it is.
I'm a man, and this is a story that is told through the lens of a woman. And especially when it relates to intimacy scenes, the scenes where there is intimacy and violence, I wanted to make sure those scenes had a female gaze. As much as I can try to see the world as a woman, I never will.
And what's a Hollywood scandal without pulling in another A-lister? Enter Ryan Reynolds, the rumored comedic genius behind some lines and cameo ideas. I mean, when you're married to Deadpool himself, why wouldn't you lean into that comedic magic, especially if you're trying to keep the audience from sobbing their eyes out? But once fans of the novel started side-eyeing the comedic vibe, guess what? Those cameo rumors? Poof, gone. Suddenly, it was all about pretending Ryan Reynolds was never even in the picture, or that Lively was just not on board with his comedic influence. Some insiders say she tried to pull a Houdini and distance herself from any and all funny business. But come on, sis, in the age of social media, those private suggestions can pop up as Exhibit A, B, or C in a lawsuit faster than you can say public relations nightmare. Of course, none of this is officially confirmed, but we love a juicy rumor, don't we? Maybe Reynolds was never involved. Maybe he was. But here's the real kicker. The whole cameo talk is like the classic Hollywood chain reaction. 1 minute, everyone's brainstorming ways to sprinkle a little fun into a heady story. The next, the public hates it, and suddenly the stars are all like, "What? Us? We had nothing to do with that." So what does the star do? Backtrack, of course. Deny, or risk being painted as the comedic villain who ruined a beloved novel. Meanwhile, Baldoni is sitting there with actual receipts, and guess who's left scrambling? Yep, you guessed it. Now let's get to the real drama. Talk of perjury. Normally, defamation lawsuits are all about bruised egos and fat checks changing hands. But criminal charges, that's a whole other beast. For Lively to end up behind bars, there would need to be solid, undeniable proof that she straight up lied under oath or falsified something important. But just the rumor of that is enough to send tabloids into a frenzy. Fans are sitting there, jaws dropped. Blake Lively in prison? Is this real life? Except, honey, it's not completely a joke, especially if more and more evidence keeps popping up that could contradict her statements. Legal experts are chiming in, saying that in some places, perjury can land you a sentence of up to 5 years. Now, is that the maximum sentence or the actual one she could face? Who knows? But that hasn't stopped the headlines from screaming 5 years from every corner of the internet. Some folks think Baldoni's team is just hyping this up to gain leverage. Others are convinced Lively might have told a few more fibs than she should have, and now she's in the hot seat. Either way, Blake Lively might go to prison is such a mouth-watering scandal that it's stealing the show and overshadowing the whole movie. But the real heartbreak, the fans who just wanted to see it ends with us on the big screen, no side order of courtroom drama or legal chaos. And yet, here we are.
What I make of that is that if your wife is sexually harassed, you don't make fun. You don't make fun of the situation. You take it very seriously. File HR complaint. Raise the issue. You follow a legal process. What you don't do is mock the person. Turn it into a joke.
So where does this leave the adaptation the entire world was eagerly awaiting? Well, stuck in Hollywood limbo naturally. Investors aren't exactly rushing to invest more cash into a project now mired in talk of jail time and courtroom drama. Marketing teams can't exactly roll out a smooth promo campaign when they're busy dodging questions about perjury and the oh-so-controversial comedic rewrites. Baldoni claims he still wants to honor the book's emotional depth, but at this point, people are more intrigued by the real-life soap opera than they are by the actual film. One day, whispers surface that behind-the-scenes settlement talks are happening, with both sides scrambling to avoid a public courtroom showdown. The next day, fresh rumors emerge claiming Lively's legal team has some serious counterarguments lined up. Meanwhile, fans on social media are tracking every juicy tidbit of gossip in real time, torn between wanting a faithful adaptation and secretly living for the spectacle of this meltdown. But let's not forget the poor book caught in the middle of all this chaos. It Ends With Us is meant to be a powerful story about personal growth and healing. But if you only follow the headlines, you'd think the real question is whether Lively's comedic one-liners or high-fashion outfits ruined the book's emotional soul. So now the big question is, can this film even be saved? Or is it doomed to be remembered as the movie that got overshadowed by an outrageous lawsuit and the threat of prison time? And of course, we're left with that classic Hollywood question that sums up this whole mess. How did a deeply emotional story about healing turn into a circus of lawsuits, multi-million-dollar defamation claims, and felony charges? Only Tinseltown knows, and it's not exactly handing out explanations.